Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Maria. In this video I'll be doing a nursing Q&A like I said I would. As some of you guys might remember, in a couple of my previous videos I asked you guys to put questions in the comments box below. Ask me questions that you'd like for me to answer in this nursing Q&A, and quite a few of you guys got back to me via my Instagram and Snapchat. So if you haven't already added me on Instagram or Snapchat, information for that is in the description box below. And I will say right off the bat, a high percentage of the questions that were asked were in relation to nursing interviews. Questions like how many interviews did you have? Were you successful for all of them? What sort of questions did you ask? Were you nervous? Tips and advice and all of that. And because of the sheer percentage of questions that were in relation to nursing interviews and stuff like that, I think I'm going to do like a completely separate video for that. So expect a video for that in like the next week or two. Because I attended like quite a few nursing interviews, and then like as part of what I do outside of nursing, I interview people on a regular basis anyway, so I feel like I'll be able to give you guys advice on interviews in general and then more specifically nursing interviews. So yeah, expect a completely separate video for that. So yeah, without further ado, let us start this nursing Q&A. I have my iPad here with me and it's got all the questions in no particular order. What university do you attend? First question, what university do you attend? If I'm completely honest, I do not know what the fascination is with what university I attend. Like, quite a few of you guys have gotten back to me, particularly through my Snapchat, asked me what university I attend. I don't think it makes a difference. Useful information will be useful information regardless of what university I go to. Not useful information will not be useful information regardless of what university I go to. The reason why I'm not disclosing what university I go to is because I feel like it adds an extra layer. I don't know, I just feel like it adds an extra layer of crap that I just don't want to have to deal with, and that's why I'm not disclosing what university I go to. But in all honesty, I think it's pretty obvious what university I go to. If you check out my vlogs on my vlog channel, Maria Avi Vlogs, or if you like check out like the really old videos from this channel, it's pretty obvious what university I go to. But I don't think it makes a difference, but it's pretty obvious. I go to university in the UK. Whereabouts in the UK, you guys can figure that out. How do I tackle evidence-based research? This is a really good question because I feel like in first year, evidence-based research in itself, that phrase threw me off. And I'm not surprised that like some of you guys have asked me questions in relation to how to write essays and stuff like that. How do you tackle evidence-based research? I will say, one thing I will say, evidence-based research, I'm guessing you're asking me this in relation to like how to write essays and things or presentations and stuff like that. Let's just be honest, like if you're going to write an essay, you're not going to put in information that you know, well, you shouldn't be putting information that you know isn't true. If you're going to put information in an essay, it should be backed up by evidence. And I feel like with evidence-based research, because the phrase has been thrown around so much, it's the phrase evidence-based research is made to, it's been portrayed as if it's like some gold standard, which it is, but in my opinion, evidence-based research should be standard. You should not be writing any essay or doing any presentation without evidence-based research. But that's just, I don't know how to explain it. In my opinion, evidence-based research should be standard, but I feel like the way the phrase is being thrown about and it's kind of being shoved down your throats, particularly in first year, makes it seem like, oh my gosh, evidence-based research, how do I find it? Where do I find it? When evidence-based research is really easily accessible. You can find it in like loads of nursing journals, and evidence-based research is everywhere. You just have to know where to find it. So how do I tackle evidence-based research? How do I tackle it? That's quite a hard question, actually. How do I tackle it? I go to the appropriate nursing journal and then find information there if it's in relation to my essay or my presentation, and then put that in my essay, put that in my presentation. And that's how I tackle evidence-based research. Yeah, that's what it is. I hope that's answered your question in some way. The main point of what I'm trying to say is that don't get too caught up on the phrase evidence-based research. Good research is good research. Just make sure that it isn't, dated back from like 1800s and stuff. Try to use relevant and the most recent research in your essays and your presentations and all of that. Yeah, I hope that's helped your question. Next question. How do I plan my essays? How I plan my essay really depends on the type of essay it is. If it's like a reflective essay, I'll use Driscoll's reflective essay guide plan, or I might use Gibbs' reflective guide plan. And these are basically just essay structures for reflective essays. If it's like an analysis essay, or if it's like just a standard essay, what I'll basically do is I'll look at the course, I'll look at the assessment guidelines. So obviously I'll have an introduction, I'll have a conclusion there, about 10 to 15% of the word count, and then I'll have like a brief background, and then just, I know it really depends on the type of essay, so it's kind of hard. You can't really just say I'd tackle essay like this. It really depends whether it's a reflective essay or whether it's a 10,000 word essay or if it's a 2,000 word essay. How you tackle all essays will be different. And I will say that if you're unsure on how to tackle your appropriate essay, make sure you talk to like your seminar lead, your lecture leads and stuff like that. I don't really feel like I've answered that question because do I start my essays early? So when I was in first year, I started my essays so early. Like I started my essays like 2 to 3 months before they were even due in. And in the end, that ended up like shooting me in the foot. Like I wouldn't recommend starting your essays that early. Like I'm talking about like 2,000 word essays. I start them like 2-3 months before the deadline. And the reason why I wouldn't recommend doing that is because like, well, for me anyway, I'd start my essays so early, I'd get so much of it done, and then I'd lose motivation. And then a week, 2 weeks before it was due, and I literally could not be bothered to pick it up because I'd been working on it for so long. And yeah, for the reason for that, my first 2 essays that I ever handed in at university, I ended up submitting late because I literally just could not be bothered to write them because I started so early. But right now, I've got a 2,000 word essay due in a week, and I've got about 300, 400 good words. So you can just see how first year I started writing essays so early, and now I'm coming into 4th year and I've got a 2,000 word essay due in a week and I haven't even done half of it. So that just goes to show how early, how late. And I think a lot of that depends on motivation levels. I can say hands down, first year I was way more motivated than I was in 4th year. Like, what is the best advice for critical writing in nursing practice? Based on my experience, I say the best advice for critical writing is make sure you go to your writing centre. If your university has some sort of writing centre, make sure you go there. With me, like English has never been my strongest point. Throughout all my GCSEs, all my A-levels, I always did better in subjects other than English language and English literature. So I wasn't the best at writing essays or structuring essays, but I found the writing centre to be really helpful in terms of helping me to structure my essay. What I could have done in 1st, 2nd, 3rd year, and what I could be doing now is talk to my seminar leads, talk to my lecture leads a lot more. Initially, I thought, oh, well, you know, they don't specialise in writing essays, they specialise in nursing, and that's, you know, all... Sometimes I think I was so narrow-minded. Anyway, I would think, oh yeah, they don't specialise in writing essays. They only know about the whole nursing thing. So I would never approach them on like how to structure my essay or how to like write my essay or what the like the assessment guidelines were asking me. But then if you think about it, they're the ones who are marking your essay. So they're probably the best people to ask on how to like structure your essay. So I would say, go to your seminar leads, go to your lecture leads, go to your professional supervisors way before you go to the writing centre. A lot of like useful information on the internet, like the internet. Google has been my best friend. Google, yeah, has literally been my #1 friend when it comes to writing essays. If you don't know anything, literally type it in on Google and it will give you all the answers. And a lot of universities as well, I know the University of Leicester, the University of Manchester, they have like writing guides online, and in first year I used that a lot because to help me kind of understand what analysis was, what critical writing was, what all of these like reflective essays were, because an assessment can say write a reflective essay or do a critical analysis on nursing practice, but initially I didn't know what they meant. So I would literally go on Google and type in define critical analysis. It would tell me what critical analysis was, and then I knew what direction I needed to be heading in my essay. Yeah, so I say utilize people over Google, but I tend to utilize Google over people. But do that, and if you can, use the two together. Google and people are the best things ever. Next question. Can you please do more videos? Can you please do more? I'd like to do more videos, but I'm a busy person. Priorities as well. I'm a full-time nursing student. I do a whole bunch of other stuff, you know, away from like the whole nursing stuff. So I would like to do more videos, but it's just finding the time, honestly, finding the time to do it. Like I said, I want to do another video on like nursing interviews and stuff, but like I've also said, I've got an essay during a week's time, so I probably won't have that video published until like a fortnight's time anyway. But if you do want more videos, you can scroll back on this channel, look at all my other old videos, or you can check out my other channel, Maria Avi Vlogs, where I try to upload vlogs on a weekly basis. Yes, okay. Can you please do a video on how to ace your nursing interview? Yes, I will be doing a separate video on how to ace your nursing interview. Next question, do I have any tips? I think that's in relation to like nursing interviews. Like I said, I'm going to be doing an extra separate video, but I will just give you some tips now. I will say know where the NHS is going in terms of like long-term conditions, how that's shaping the nursing care that we're delivering to people. Know about the change in nursing structure in terms of like the workforce, Like we've got the advanced nurse practitioner, registered nurse, nurse and associate, healthcare practitioners, all of that. And make sure you know what the 6 C's are. Like that is vital. That will help you. That I feel like knowing the 6 C's will provide a foundation for a lot of the questions that you might be asked in your nursing interviews. Yeah, but I'll be doing a separate video for that where I'll be going into a lot more detail. This question threw me off. Someone asked me on Snapchat, what is the role of a nurse? And that question threw me off. Not in a bad way, but in a good way, because I just wasn't expecting that level of depth. Maybe it's just me trying to take this question elsewhere, or trying to take it somewhere where it doesn't need to go. But what is the role of a nurse? Like whoever asked me that question, yeah, thumbs up here. Thumbs up to you, because I feel like I actually had to write an essay kind of around the role of a nurse. What values do nurses display? And I was thinking about this question, yeah. What is the role of a nurse? I feel like a nurse is someone who supports the health and well-being of others. But I feel like the issue, I don't know, there are so many definitions of what a nurse is. I feel like the reason why it's so hard to kind of define what a nurse is and what the role of a nurse is because, I don't know, a nurse isn't a protected characteristic. You don't have to be a registered nurse to nurse someone. You don't have to be in a hospital setting to nurse someone. You know, shout out to all our carers out there, you know, who are caring for their parents, their grandparents, their children. That, in a sense, is nursing someone. Because nursing isn't a protected characteristic, it's kind of hard to define the role of a nurse. But I hope I've answered the questions well enough. I'm aware that some of the questions, particularly the ones in relation to essays, I might not have answered as well as you guys might have expected me to, basically because writing essays isn't my strongest point, and I don't just want to give you guys information that I'm not even 100% sure on. But if this video has been useful for you guys in any way, make sure you like this video. If you've been watching my videos and haven't already subscribed to my channel, make sure you subscribe to my channel. And if you're interested in like other, you know, nursing related vlogs, you can check over my channel, Maria Ivy Vlogs, where I pretty much just vlog my everyday life. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.